welcome to episode 94 of the Life in Journal podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is Ian.
Hi, I'm Mandy.
Wondering
Normally you introduce me, so.
Well, I figured, so this is like I'm pretty sure this is the 20th time you've been on the show. So, I mean, you're like the unofficial third member of the show. So,
Nice.
I mean, so Mandy's here.
I'm here. Hi.
We're going to talk a little Halloween. How about that? You guys
Scary
excited?
Movies.
Yeah. It's but when this comes out, it'll be what, like 4 days before Halloween?
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
Perfect timing. Best time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Halloween to Ian is what Christmas is to me.
Yes, pretty much.
Mandy, where do you fall? Is Halloween? What's your favorite season of the year?
Now, summer. Because I'm a teacher.
Okay, fine. What's your favorite holiday? What's your
excluding
favorite
that, yeah.
holiday?
It's really a toss-up between Halloween and Christmas.
And it's tough because
It
Halloween is your birthday as well.
Yes, it is. But then it's also kind of makes it
Not as
less.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure having your birthday on Halloween when you were younger was probably
Pretty
a
cool.
pretty cool thing. But
Mm-hmm.
as you've gotten older and with kids and all that, you kind of lose your
Yeah.
ability to really do things.
I would
on
rather
your
have my birthday on Halloween than Christmas.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, because then you get pimped out of presents.
Get no presents.
I don't want some bags. That's not what.
At least if
that's
I
not
don't-
what Christmas is about.
If I don't get my cake, I have candy. So.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
You get something regardless.
Right.
So you can't really eat the candy anymore.
I do.
Do you?
I just ate these.
Oh, that's true. As you're sitting there chomping on your
Well, I'm starting to eat
Gummy
them.
worms.
sour worms.
She offered me some.
Okay,
and
so-
I'll be chomping on them all
So
through the
there's
show.
a thing with Ian. He's not allowed to eat things during the show.
There it is.
Oh my God! Thank you, Ian. After 2 minutes, everyone has now shut this episode off.
No, they
it
didn't.
should be like dead air for the next 40 minutes now, or hour.
No, they shut it off before they even turned it on. They're like, fuck those guys. Whoops.
Okay, yeah, good job. Just smack the equipment around,
All right.
dumbass.
Would you rather me do that or chomp, chomp, chomp?
I want neither. Neither is a good thing.
Whatever.
Jagwagon. So I'm not a huge Halloween movie or horror movie fan. I'm a fan of like slasher movies.
Yeah.
I've always been.
And that's really, as much as I love horror movies in general, slasher films are my
forte.
oeuvre.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Mandy, you're a big horror fan, obviously, and
And you like more of the ghost stuff.
Yeah, and the stuff that could happen too. So like Final Destination, and I know those aren't really horror movies, but that
Well,
stuff.
they are.
So
kinda
you're
gets in
thinking
your
that,
head
do you think that people who have managed to cheat death once has it come back and chase them down?
No, it's just the way that they die. Like that scares me because
yeah.
everything is real. Like that's stuff that could really happen.
yeah, I've seen some of it happen.
Yes.
Well, not like
Not
Right.
firsthand.
not firsthand, but I've seen the aftermath of it.
And the Saw movies, like that stuff that just gets in your head. That's just creepy. Like people
Yeah.
could actually take you and hide you away somewhere. Like that
Hide
stuff
keys behind your
scares me.
eyeballs.
Well, we'll discuss Saw a little later.
Okay.
So it kind of it got me thinking. You know, are there horror movies out there that we think should be remade? Mm-hmm. And one that I had that I thought was probably number one on my list, I just recently found out has been remade, and that would be Poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
And Poltergeist was one of the movies like I saw when I was a young kid, and it really kind of stuck with me. And like I said before, I'm not a big horror movie fan, but I've always been a fan of that movie.
Right.
Maybe just because it scares the shit out of me.
Uh-huh.
But
It's really well done. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
a well
It really
done,
is.
scary movie. I mean, Spielberg being involved has a lot to do with that, I would imagine. But
That is
Did-
one movie that
didn't
I
we talk
won't
about him a
watch.
couple episodes ago?
did we?
How he does kind of like he did like everything in the 80s.
Well, I think I probably would have said that he and George Lucas kind of defined the '80s
Yes.
Yeah.
for us with their films and stuff. But the remake of Poltergeist was a bit lackluster.
Who was in it? Do you know?
Sam Rockwell plays the dad. I do not
Really?
remember. Yeah,
That's a really strange pick.
no. He's pretty. He's been in a lot of stuff.
I know, but
He's done horror. His very first horror movie was back in 1990. 91, I think. It was called Happy Hell Night, and it's about a killer priest that comes out on Halloween to kill a bunch of frat people.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, that sounds like a good.
It's surprisingly
a good use of time.
Hey, I like slasher films, and I don't mind a good cheesy one. And
Well, I don't like frat boys, so
well, hey,
that's kind of where I was going.
well,
with
they get butchered. It's surprisingly well done for a movie that nobody's ever heard of, and it's very difficult to find.
You know what? After seeing, I just looked up on IMDb. I remember seeing the poster for it, so maybe I do remember.
Happy
this
Hell
coming
Night?
out. Oh no! I'm thinking Poltergeist.
Oh, Poltergeist. Yeah, they really focused the advertising campaign on the clown, which I don't really the clown doll.
Yeah.
I don't really know why, but it's just there's something about the original, and this is true for a lot of movies that end up getting remade. It doesn't necessarily mean that the remakes are bad. Just there's something about the original Poltergeist specifically that I think even if it had been made back then but didn't have the same people behind it, it would have just not been anywhere near the same. You know, Spielberg is a producer, arguably slight secondary director. Tobe Hooper. I mean, it's just it really had everything going for it, and it just worked super well.
So I
the
guess
remake just couldn't do it.
So I guess I could rephrase this as horror movies that should be
remade well.
Yes.
With a little bit of style and not just taking the formula, because I think that's the problem. They just took the formula of what Poltergeist was.
They tried to redo it.
And just applied modern day techniques to it.
That's
it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
So, and I think that's true of a lot of remakes out there.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street would be another prime example of that. The remake of Nightmare on Elm Street falls short in so many places.
I don't think I've seen it either.
It just it would not have been hard for them to really do something great with it, and they just didn't. They took the original plot. Well, they didn't even take the original plot. They took the original script, updated it a bit, and made Freddy a little bit more of a chase and slash kind of guy. And that's not what he is.
That's not what he did.
So I don't know. I think.
Well, did Robert Englund play?
No, Jackie Earle Haley. And actually, his Freddy Krueger's good.
Is it?
It's how the writing made him.
Oh, maybe I do remember seeing parts of that.
You probably saw bits and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should probably sit and watch it because as a standalone movie by itself, there's some good stuff in there, and even as a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Because I always liked a Nightmare on
Elm
Street.
There's a couple things they do in the movie that are slightly different that kind of add to what Nightmare on Elm Street is.
Yeah.
They do this little side story of micronaps.
Sorry, Mandy, I thought you were playing footsie with me as a dog.
Oh yeah, he was kissing your feet. It was cute.
They do this thing with micronapping, where when you've been up for so long, your mind just kind of goes to sleep for seconds at a time on its own without you even realizing it. And they kind of incorporate this. One of the best scenes in the movie, she's like micronapping, and she's like in and out of the dream, and it's Freddy's there, then he's not. He's there, he's not. And it's like back and forth. And that's a really well shot and well done scene, and a nice plot element that was just completely underdeveloped for the rest of the film, and all that. But what about you, Mandy? What's a one that you think that would deserve a remake?
And hopefully it hasn't been done. But I think, when you say it deserves a remake, it doesn't mean that it was bad to begin with. Right?
No,
okay.
absolutely
because
Poltergeist was a great movie.
Okay. The Birds. I would love to see that done again.
I thought about that and put it on my list. But
that's a good because they have not done a remake for that.
And that movie scared the bejesus out of me for many, many years and still does.
And that's a movie that could benefit from modern day cinematography and CGI and stuff.
And it was, but the original was done beautifully.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a great movie.
Of course, yeah.
But you're right.
If
that would be fun. Too.
If what year was that? 1998. If the 1998 remake of Psycho proves anything, Hitchcock is difficult to remake.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's one that would be a good one. I think. I think it could benefit under the right direction.
Right.
Exactly.
Could be a good.
I don't think they should change anything about it, but just
they
to see it
have
done, redone with.
No, that's a movie that, like The Fly. The remake of The Fly in 1986 is a superior film because they took the original premise and just added. David Cronenberg did his thing with it.
And Jeff Goldblum did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. John Carpenter's The Thing, another example, a 1950s like UFO film, and he modernized it. He turned it into a real monster film, and it's really good. So it can be done, and like I said, I think it just takes the right people to do it.
And along those lines, I'm probably in the minority, but I liked the remake of Dawn of the Dead better.
Me too.
You're probably not in the minority.
Really?
I'm more in the
I feel like I
minority
am.
for saying that the original is far superior. Just as a film, I still like the remake, but Zack Snyder did do exactly what I'm talking about, taking the original premise and then doing his own thing with it.
Yeah.
I just prefer the original better over the remake myself. But one movie that I think should be remade, that I think deserves remake, that I think would not be difficult to do, but again would probably require the right people, is Witchboard. I mean, they've never redone it, but the Ouija board storylines have been used.
Yeah, exactly.
This was the first, if you don't count The Exorcist, because The Exorcist has the Ouija board and it is part of that. Yeah, Captain Howdy. That's how he got.
Oh, okay.
That's how she got possessed. Was the Ouija board.
Okay.
So this takes that idea that is implied in The Exorcist, but not really necessarily a part of the plot, and really examines what the Ouija board links to the possession side of it. And I think because the movie was made in '87, it was a low budget film. It's super well done, super suspenseful for the time. Even it was kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But now you watch it, it's very dated. It's very '80s.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
A lot of those movies.
The clothing, the music, everything is very '80s about that movie. So that by itself, if they could find someone who could maintain that level of suspense, keep the original story at least as far as the rules go for the Ouija board, and then, define it in their own way, I think it could be done super well.
Yeah.
They've talked about it. There's been several people who've wanted to do it, and it just never got off the ground.
Gotcha.
So,
one that I didn't really think about until just now. It's not like really a horror movie. And there's been sequels made, but the sequels are
garbage.
Terrible. The Lost Boys.
Well, the third sequel, or the second sequel, I guess, the third movie isn't as bad as the second.
I thought they were both pretty bad.
Yeah, they have their issues for sure.
But The Lost Boys is a prime example of one of those dated movies.
Right. Let me put your mind at ease. They're remaking it as a TV show on the CW. So you'll get your remake one way or another. It'll just be a bit Gossip Girl version of it, I guess.
Oh my God.
Well, that being said, hey, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a show that was kind of designed to be that, but it became something way better.
I guess.
So it could turn out to be more like a Buffy than that. So
gotcha.
You know what would be fun is to see like the Creep shows and stuff, those remade again. Or do they already
Creep
do that?
Show is a TV show now.
Right, but it's on TV right now.
Well, it's on the Shudder network.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's from what I don't have Shudder yet, and if I get it, it'll be for that Creep Show TV show. But
is it
what
good?
I hear, it's being done very well.
Good. Because that would be cool to see too, updated. And
Yeah. I mean, different stories, obviously, but that's what you can. As far as that goes, it's an anthology. So Creep Show 1 and 2 are connected. It's all like part of the same universe. So,
yeah,
like Twilight Zone is.
Keep going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a good one. I would with an anthology, you can't really remake it because they're all separate stories anyway. But there's nothing wrong with doing a sequel.
Yeah.
Doing more of them, and that's what they're doing with that.
Speaking of TV shows, remember the TV show Fear Itself? It was on for like one season.
Heard of it, but I don't quite remember.
We watched it when it was on. I don't even remember what year it was on, but it had like really creepy, really good, scary stories. Like I remember one was like the guy lived on a farm with his family, got lost in the woods.
Was it
gone? He was gone for like a week.
True stories?
No, it's like scary stories.
Like
the guy,
an anthology?
He came back possessed by a demon and tried to kill his whole family. And the special effects were really good on it.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. I don't remember what it was. I
don't.
For some reason I thought that was a reality show.
No, Fear Itself.
Oh. Yeah, that'd be one to check out. But that would be they could remake it if it develop it in a different way and make it,
What was that, Mandy?
Something touching my hood.
Shadow people? The shadow people from last episode?
Or is that the next episode?
No, that's last episode.
Okay.
If you want to go to TV shows or scary TV shows that could stand remaking, Night Gallery would be a good one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if it's done well. Because, I mean, Jordan Peele, I'm hearing good things about his development of Twilight Zone.
That's really good from what I understand.
If he wanted to do a Night Gallery thing.
That's on what, CBS All Access?
All Access, yeah.
I have a free preview for like the next week. I probably should watch some of that.
Well, I'll be getting CBS All Access in January anyway, so
Cool.
Full blown, because Star Trek Picard starts in January.
So maybe we'll all get it in January then?
We'll see.
We'll see if we enjoy our free trial.
Wink, wink.
Well, what he's saying is he'll use mine.
I know. I was trying to.
You're trying to make it sound so it's
Yes.
a little less illegal?
Uh-huh.
It's not illegal.
You better start being nice to me then.
Good luck with that.
When am I not nice?
When you're awake.
Chomp, 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 chomp. Good job, Chucklehead.
Yeah, whatever.
Beep.
Trying to think.
What's another one for you that you think, Mandy?
I had, well, I don't know if this one should be redone, but what about The Shining?
See, that was actually number 2 on my list, was
Okay.
The Shining.
Technically, they've already done it, but the new sequel that's coming out, Dr. Sleep, is tying directly into the original.
Gotcha.
So they won't remake it. And that's a movie I don't think a remake could be done any better.
That's what I was wondering.
I don't
'cause
know.
it's
I
so
really,
good.
even though it was made for TV, I really
There's
like.
elements of
I
the
really like the
TV
the
version.
TV version.
There's elements of
I've
that.
been, and
that
I've been
I
trying
like.
to. I'm gonna have to buy it because I can't find it digitally anywhere.
No, it's only available on disc.
I saw it at Walmart one day in like a bundle,
Yep.
and I was like, "Ooh, sweet! I should buy it." It was like $15 or $20, and I was like, and I didn't, and now I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah. I think you can get it on Amazon.
Oh, I'm
I think
sure.
I've seen it on Amazon.
Sure. You can get dildos on Amazon, so I'm sure you can get
okay.
anything on there.
Well,
What,
we
Mandy?
know what Nick's been buying on Amazon lately.
What all those charges are, huh?
Yeah.
No. I just know somebody that worked at Amazon, and I heard all the funny stories about all the crazy, weird stuff that they've had to pull for things.
Oh, okay.
What, Mandy?
I just didn't know they had an adult section.
You can buy anything out there.
I don't think you buy anything off there.
Anything if it's just as long as it's not illegal.
Right. No, but as far as The Shining goes, they've talked about it a lot, redoing it, and with this big surge in Stephen King stories being adapted, because like basically any of his books come out, they're being adapted. The new one comes out, it's being adapted.
Yeah.
And then I did not know this. I thought they did the Pet Sematary remake with good intentions. They did it too because they were about to lose the rights.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. It was a cash grab.
Have you seen it? Is it any good?
I've not seen the remake. See, and not for any reason. I like the original, but I did hear some negative things about the remake. And then when I heard that, I was just like, eh,
Yeah.
because there's this law that after 35 years from the time the product is produced, the rights automatically revert back to the original author. So Stephen King
30.
35.
Pretty sure it's 30. Cause
No,
it's
it's-
because it's the same as music. Music reverts after 30
It's
years, I thought.
35. Because this is the same problem that Friday the 13th is going through right now. The rights were questionable as to who owned the rights initially. So they technically reverted back to Victor Miller, who wrote the original script.
Gotcha.
Sean Cunningham sued to get the rights back because he claimed that Victor Miller was a writer for hire.
Yeah.
So he didn't own the rights to it.
Gotcha.
And the court upheld that Victor Miller does, and now Sean Cunningham is appealing that. So next year will be the 40th anniversary of Friday the 13th, and we're not going to get a 40th anniversary anything because they can't do anything. They can't do a box set. They can't do movies. They can't even do merchandising to celebrate the 40th anniversary. So it sucks. But it's 35 years because they just the family of Wes Craven just got the rights back from Nightmare on Elm Street from New Line Cinema. So if they wanted to say sell the rights or license the rights to say Blumhouse, who has claimed that they want to get the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street anyway, we could be looking at having a really positive, good remake of a Nightmare on Elm Street. which would be on my list, by the way. A good remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I could definitely see that would be good.
I don't care if they get Jackie Earle Haley back, but they need to do something with that property. And Robert Englund said he's up for one more, but I just think he's too old.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, how old is he? He's
71.
Is he really?
I think so.
Jeez.
I'm pretty sure he's 71.
He's
in his 70s.
You don't have your phone with you?
I do. It's right here. It was in my coat. But yeah, that's on my list as far as a movie that deserves a remake. And arguably, you could say Friday the 13th, but I don't. Friday the 13th is one of those series that just do a sequel. You don't really need to do a remake.
The remake one isn't necessary.
No, it's really not. Just keep doing sequels. And
72.
So yeah. And Blumhouse, they care about their products, and they can do they know how to do low budget films well.
Yeah.
And when Jason Blum says he wants a property, he usually gets it. He got Halloween, and that was going up against the Weinsteins and everything, which at the time were still a powerhouse in Hollywood.
No longer. But,
no longer, no. And Miramax still has a share, but,
So how much, with the whole copyright issue, how much are the movie companies fighting it? Because I know with
nobody
music,
fought. The New Line did not fight the rights
because
thing
with music, all of the music companies are fighting to hold on to the copyrights.
Right. And I wasn't arguing about that because I don't know what the music one is, if it's 30 years or whatever.
It's 35. I just looked
35. Okay.
What's the same?
It depends. Obviously, like I said, Sean Cunningham is suing Victor Miller over the Friday the 13th. New Line, which is owned by Warner Brothers, did not challenge it going back to Wes Craven.
Yeah.
They still have the international rights. This is a U.S. law.
Yep.
So internationally, they can still do anything they want overseas, but they won't because if they can't,
they can't sell it here.
They can't sell it here. There's no point in this. And honestly, the same would be in reverse. They wouldn't make something here that wouldn't be able to be sold overseas. So yeah, it's a huge problem. You kind of all want it under one roof, ultimately. But
So I know with the music industry, there's been several big lawsuits that have been going on for a couple of years now because it's past their 35-year mark, and the artists are still fighting to get the copyrights.
Right. Well, see, that's kind of a reverse situation where the owner of the copyright loses it, whereas this is strictly just the studios who own the rights to produce. It's going back to the original author rather than the reverse.
Well, it's the same law that oversees the whole thing.
Right. But as far as with the Nightmare on Elm Street thing, the fact that Warner Brothers did not fight it with Wes Craven's family is probably twofold. It's out of respect, but they know that Blumhouse wants it. Blumhouse is probably going to do it, and they'll still have the distribution rights overseas. Yeah. So they don't have any of the risk, and they still get money out of it.
Exactly.
So
they're okay with it.
They're okay with it. Yeah. So
what about The Howling? I know The Howling had it was a straight to DVD reboot of it.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say. It's more of a sequel than a reboot.
Is
I
it?
think, yeah.
I've never seen it. I just know it's got terrible reviews. But The Howling was one of those movies I was kind of liked when I was younger.
The first three were decent enough. Although, I mean, the third one is pushing it a little bit because it's the marsupials. Marsupial werewolves, yeah. So, but for what it's worth, it's been a while since we've had a really decent werewolf film.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And I think The Howling is up there as far as the higher echelons of.
The last good werewolf movie was what? Teen Wolf? I mean,
this may not be a popular opinion, but I think Cursed was actually the best recent werewolf movie. It's got Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg in it.
Okay.
And it was directed by Wes Craven.
Oh.
It was his post-Scream. It was one of his post-Scream movies.
Gotcha.
And written by Kevin Williamson, so it was all still the same.
Yeah.
But for a werewolf movie, that's surprisingly good. But beyond that, there really aren't a lot. The Howling, Silver Bullet, and American Werewolf in London. That's about it. Wolf with Jack Nicholson was okay enough, and then of course the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
That's without saying. But The Wolfman, the remake with Benicio del Toro, was not that great.
No.
So it's time. I think that would be a good one to consider as a possible remake film. Absolutely.
Mandy?
Well, I was going to say Chucky, but that's probably
They just did.
Yeah.
Did they?
They just did a Child's Play remake.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Where have I been?
I don't know. It's not even out on
Rock?
DVD yet. It's or digital. It
was in the theaters not too long ago.
Yeah, it basically it's not a reimagining. It's a straight kind of a visual remake, but story wise, it's completely different.
Gotcha.
Chucky is not possessed by a killer. It's just basically bad software.
Oh.
It's like
really?
AI gone crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's not as scary.
people liked it though. It got
good
quite
reviews.
good reviews.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. There's only two reasons I really want to watch it. One, the reviews have been very positive, so I want to give it a chance. Second, Mark Hamill does the voice of Chucky.
Does it really?
Chucky will always be Brad Dourif to me,
Yeah.
but Mark Hamill is Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
So, because he's at his core, he's a voice actor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
He has
where
been for most of his career.
most of his career, and
Yeah.
actually, even in his early days, that was kind of what he wanted to do. So, there wasn't a big market for it when it's in the mid to late 70s.
Yeah.
So.
What about The Wraith? That was one of those movies I loved as a kid.
I haven't watched it as an adult,
and it's not as good as an adult.
Okay, I have not watched it as an adult, so I'd have to see.
Do you remember the movie
No.
with Charlie Sheen? He was like, this kid is like bullied and killed by like race car, the hot rod
Gang,
or whatever they are,
And he comes back as like a supernatural, like alien type wraith
No.
with a super duper like supercharged car.
Yeah.
No.
That's a good movie. I liked it when I was a kid. I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah, when you're a kid, that movie's
That
awesome.
sounds, yeah.
But
I saw it probably. I mean, it's probably been 5 or 6 years since I've seen it, and I was like,
I just don't think. I
Ooh.
mean, they'd have to change a lot to really get it to translate to modern audiences.
You think so?
Yeah, I think maybe too much for it to still be a remake and not just a movie of in itself, a different movie altogether.
well, what about Christine? Would it be the same thing?
No, because Christine was about a possessed car, and honestly, I don't
Kind
think
of the same thing with The Wraith. I mean, but
well, I think there was more of an alien element to that.
No,
I know there wasn't, but it just felt like it because the car was all like super.
he was
like,
supernatural,
futuristic.
but
It was futuristic looking and all that.
yeah.
With Christine, it's slightly different, but I honestly don't think that they could remake Christine and make it successful.
Yeah.
I really don't. The concept in and of itself is a bit rough. It's kind of like the movie Cars. How do the cars build buildings for them to drive into? In the movie Cars.
What do you mean?
You ever see the movie Cars?
Yeah.
Okay. There's buildings.
Okay.
Who builds them?
The construction equipment
How do they get things screwed in without thumbs and hands?
with the screwdrivers. I don't know.
How do they build the things that are too small for
Why do you think
trucks
that
to
much
build them?
into it?
Yeah, why do you think that much into it?
I'm just saying
Don't be
it's-
such a fucking hater, man.
I'm not hating. I don't like
Hey,
the
hey,
Cars movies. I don't like them. But
Sit there and drink your haterade, and, you know.
I did not hear anything hateful. I asked you a question that you couldn't answer. By the
I don't
way.
know. They're good movies.
I don't like them.
That's nice.
I don't have to like them. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying it's like that. It's like there's only so far a car can be scary. So the car's chasing you down the road. Climb up a really tall, steep hill.
I know.
You're fine. You know, car can't find you there. That was my point.
Yeah.
There's
I
limitations
got you.
to a car being scary.
Yeah.
It worked in 1983, and it worked in 1981 when the book came out.
It probably wouldn't today.
It would not work very well in 2019.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
same with Jaws, because we've seen so many other
Sharknado.
Exactly, we've seen CG sharks. You can't
not-
remake
no,
Jaws
you can't. That's-
and make
yes.
it good.
No.
You just can't.
Because you can't. I don't think you can CGI that and make it work.
Well, they've
Probably
done
not.
that for some of those. What is it? Into the Deep or something like that.
Yeah, well, there's 47 meters.
But the
and then-
sharks are never like terrifying. I don't know. They just never look
No.
real to me.
Right. It's funny is that they had such a hard time getting the shark in Jaws to look even close to real.
They did a really good,
and they did a good job.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
That's one of those examples where practical effects are far superior to CGI effects.
Yep.
But they'll never do it. They'll never do another. It was so hard for them to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
There's probably not enough people working in animatronics in the industry now to even make it.
Now you just fly the drone over it and just kill the shark.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. As far as I would never recommend Jaws. Never, ever, ever touch The Exorcist. They will never do that film justice. The film is virtually perfect on its own. They do not have to remake that.
What about another one of Mandy's favorites? What about House?
Well,
would that work?
The premise is so simple. It's just a ghost.
Not House 2, the really campy one.
I like House 2 though.
House 2 wasn't that the one with the cowboy
and the crystal skull?
Yeah, that was really bad.
I like House 2. I know it's cheesy as shit.
I need to watch them again. I don't remember.
See, the thing is Ghost or House 1, the first one. It's just, it's such just a straightforward haunted house story.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that it's a campy version of The Changeling already in itself.
I guess.
Because he loses his family, same thing, loses the house, goes from the past, haunts him. It's you don't really need to remake it because you can just do another ghost story and it's
the same. Yeah. I think that was the funny thing about. So I saw House before I saw House 2,
right? And
then we rented, because we used to rent movies on Friday nights at the video store, and I remember I think when my brother rented House 2, and I was like, oh wow, we went home and watched it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is nothing like the first movie.
I think I saw House 2 for the first time on HBO. And I was, I don't think I really cared. It was an enjoyable film. It's funny. It's just a goofy, funny movie.
So how about Sleepaway Camp?
Yes. 100% should be remade.
Yeah?
100%, yep.
I would watch it again.
I think that would be one that they could do really well.
Easy, yeah.
Now, here's the funny thing, though. You can't top the ending of the first Sleepaway Camp. So what do they do?
I don't even remember the ending of it.
Oh, really?
Really?
No, what's the...
Wait.
What
you sure?
Isn't that the one with the head?
No. Sleepaway Camp is the one where the killer is the 13-year-old girl, but at the very end you find out it's really a 13-year-old boy.
But I thought she was holding a head at
No, she's sitting there screaming naked with her penis sticking out.
Oh.
Maybe I'm thinking of 2 or something.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because I know I'm picturing the image you're talking about, but I don't remember what movie that was.
It's one of those.
I don't know.
Or is there another, like a Sleepaway Camp? What was the other? Slumber
I'm
Party.
sure there's a bunch of them.
Oh my God, Slumber Party.
Slumber Party Massacre. Another one totally deserves a remake.
Oh my gosh, those are
because
so
those movies, they had so much promise, but they suffer from their low budget and no name actors who really couldn't act. You can put a little bit of money. You don't have to put a lot. It can still be super low budget.
Oh yeah.
But put a little bit of money behind that with a good company like a Blumhouse or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can do a Sleepaway Camp. You can do a Slumber Party Massacre.
And they'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At least decent slasher films.
Yeah.
The Prowler is another one I think might stand a good remake.
Yeah.
Because the first one is good enough.
I never saw
it. It's Tom Savini's special effects. The guy who directed it ended up directing Friday the 13th Part 4. And that's one of the better sequels in the series.
Yeah.
Joseph Zito, he directed it. It's a good all around slasher that came out in 1981. It was following off of the Friday the 13th craze.
Yeah.
Halloween craze. It was just a really well done slasher. I think that would stand a good remake. The slashers are ones that if they're done, even with just a little bit of talent, they're fine. They don't really require a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like Candyman.
Candyman is getting a sequel, which it started out as a remake.
Oh, really?
But they're doing it as a sequel.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. And when I mentioned Saw earlier, Saw is getting a remake by Chris Rock and his production company. Yes, and I think it's going to be an all African American cast. I don't think it ties into the original series. As far as I can tell, It might be. It might, but from what I can tell, it's kind of going for that Get Out, Us, this kind of rise in African American horror films, and kind of sticking with all African American cast members. So I'm curious to see how it works out.
I was never a big. I like the first Saw movie. I didn't really like any ones after that. I mean, the first two, but
I would say the first two are the best for sure. And I didn't necessarily like where it ended, but I have not seen the 8th one, which I don't know how that fits in.
Yeah,
because they did Saw the Final Chapter, that was part 7, and then they did Jigsaw, which was the 8th, and I never saw it, so I don't know what they did with that. But
is there any others that you'd like, Mandy?
I don't really have any others.
What about it's like as far as like more recent ones, at least like the past 20 years, about urban legend, or was it Urban Legends?
No, Urban Legends was the second one.
Okay.
It was Urban Legends, the final cut, and then Urban Legend was the first one.
Urban Legend, that was a good one.
That was a really good movie. It's almost on its own. It's probably, I wouldn't say it's a perfect film because it's not, but on its own, it's got a really solid cast. It's got a solid cast. It's got a good story. It's got the suspense, and it came out at that time when the slasher craze had come back, thankfully through Scream.
Yeah.
In fact, it came out the very next year.
Did it?
Yeah. 2 years. I'm sorry, it was 2 years after. The next year was I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is another one they're talking about remaking. And there's been some talk about doing it in theaters or as a TV show.
Don't do it as a TV show.
Scream, I was telling Mandy, the Scream TV show is actually pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the last movie.
Oh, the last movie is the second best of the series.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Mandy? Scream 4?
In my opinion, it is Scream 1 is the best, Scream 4 is the second best.
Huh.
And that's how I look at it.
We've got it. We have it. I just haven't watched it.
You should. What I try to occasionally, because there's only the 4 movies, I try to periodically just do a marathon, just binge them all. It's tough.
They're all good.
They're all good. But in my opinion, it's number 1, number 4, number 2, number 3. Those are the order.
Alone.
Yeah, I didn't realize Urban Legend came out in 98.
98, yeah. I just don't. I mean, the premise is so simple. It's kind of like House. They could just do another sequel.
Yeah, that's true.
And just do something different, take the same premise, and just do a sequel.
Yeah.
Because essentially that's what the second one was. There was really no connection to the first movie.
I don't know if I ever saw the second one.
Second one's not bad either, surprisingly.
It had a different cast in it,
completely different cast. Different killer. There's no connecting factor other than these kids are being killed in the same way that these urban legends go.
Yeah.
And the motivation's different. For a sequel, it's decent, and then for a slasher film, it's decent. Mm-hmm. But I was starting to say is that mid to late 90s resurgence of slasher films, all those movies probably just deserve sequels more than they deserve remakes.
Maybe. I can see that.
Valentine should get a sequel. Urban Legend should probably just have a sequel. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really tough. With
the sequel for that wasn't very good.
Well, they made 3 of them.
Did they really?
Yeah. The third one's a supernatural slasher, and again, it's for what it is. It's not bad. It's really low budget, and the acting's terrible. But
that always hurts.
It always hurts it. But I'd much rather see something more along those lines with the I Know What You Did Last Summer. See, because where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
Go supernatural, fine. You can make as many sequels as you want. So a lot of those movies, Urban Legend, just make sequels. Just if you want to do them, just do sequels or do anthology type sequels, whatever. But don't really remake them because you can't. All you're doing is just making a slasher film.
Yeah, I got you.
It's just do more of them. It'd be this. It costs the same.
What about an old school classic that I'm sure Mandy has never seen, but she's probably heard me talk about it for the past 20 years? Zombie Lake.
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
That's like one of my. I remember it was a Channel 20.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thriller double feature.
Yeah, thriller double feature. I remember sitting over my grandparents' house and watching.
That's funny.
That.
I was at my grandparents' house watching it too.
Yeah, I just
lived
love
with
that
my
one.
grandparents.
Like the swamp zombies.
They were Nazis.
Nazi zombies. That's, yeah.
You want to hear something funny? That's not the only Nazi zombie movie there is.
Oh, I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, I thought it was. I never knew there was another one, but there is another one. I forgot what it's called, but I saw it came up in one of my lists that I was looking up movies for. So there's a lot of those. Old...
Zombie Lake's a good movie, though. I mean, for what it is.
Yeah, I haven't watched it since I was a kid,
No,
so I
me
don't
either.
know. I think it would stand a rewatch before I went as far as to say it's a good movie.
Well, for what? That's why I
At
said
the
for what
time,
it
I
is.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed the shit out of it as a kid. But for what it's worth, I don't know about how it would stand up. There's a lot of like older films I think really could. See, I think we're in an age. You mentioned the Psycho remake earlier.
Mm-hmm.
When it was made, it wasn't even 30. It was just 30, or just under 40 years old, I guess.
Yeah.
At that point, Janet Leigh was still alive. There really wasn't a lot of push to make. The whole premise of that remake was Gus Van Sant said that he could take every shot, make shot for shot.
Yeah, it was a shot for shot remake.
And that would make it, and it would be just as good. I mean, I'm assuming that was his premise. But it didn't. It wasn't good.
No.
It wasn't good at all. And it didn't suffer from the cast. The cast was decent.
Yeah.
We had Julianne Moore, you had Vince Vaughn, you had Anne Heche, you had Viggo Mortensen. I mean, good cast. But it just, you can't do that. Now I think we're in a time...
It lacked something. There was something missing in it.
Especially after watching the Bates Motel TV show. I think now is a prime time to maybe do a Psycho sequel.
Yeah.
With modern, in the modern day, you can change it up however you want. And kind of what they did with the Bates Motel storyline. But if you take the main core of that film, what it is, and do it with a modern day twist to it, I think it can be done quite well.
Yeah, I can see that.
In its time. I mean, Anthony Perkins has been dead for now 30 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Almost 30 years. So, you're detached from the original actor because they'd only been dead for 8 years when the remake was made.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's time. I think that it's time for that movie to get a remake. I would like to see a remake of Peeping Tom, which came out the same year. It came out the same year as Psycho. People think that it's better than Psycho, so film snobs think it's better than Psycho. I personally don't, but it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
It came out the same year, and it kind of pushed more boundaries than Psycho did, but it was made in Britain, so there wasn't the restrictions that Hollywood has.
Yeah.
I think Peeping Tom would stand a good remake, for sure. Deadly Friend by Wes Craven was on my list. Be another one. I think if they did it right. This is like a killer robot. Guy makes a robot friend and she kills for him. He doesn't design her to kill. He just wants a friend. Yeah, we say friend, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. They could have some fun with that.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. I already said Witchboard. Witch Trap is another one. It's not a Ouija board movie. It's a ghost story. But it's funny. It was the first time they had done... It's essentially Ghost Adventures with all that tech stuff. Way before Ghost Adventures ever came out. I mean,
right.
When all those guys in the show are kids. Because this came out like 1989.
Yeah.
But it was ghost people using technology trying to trap spirits and all kinds of funky stuff. Another one that, if it's done well with the same level of care to the suspense side of it, I think it could be done really well.
Yeah.
I think Night of the Demons, the remake was decent. I think that a sequel could be done with the remake.
You're getting deep in the weeds now, man. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah. It's a shame I didn't bring in enough notes then. Mr. Where are your notes? Where are your notes? This is all off the top of my fucking head.
What about Nosferatu? It did get a 1979 remake, which wasn't nearly as good as the...
Some would debate that.
The creepiness of the original.
Well, I mean, at its core, Nosferatu is just Bram Stoker's Dracula.
It is.
So... I guess if you were to alter that story, but use some of the same kind of German expressionism, that's implied in the original. Yeah, maybe. I think that could stand a good remake.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just I don't know. Just you've seen it before, haven't you, Mandy?
Maybe.
It's a 1922 black and white film.
Yeah. You were obsessed with it when we started dating, so I remember.
Another one that's kind of along those same lines is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yes, definitely needs a remake because
that would be a good one to remake.
I think, again, you use the same type of, with today's technology and use that same type of expressionism to it, abstractness to it, I think it'd be fantastic.
Do you know what that movie's about? Okay.
You can explain it to the audience.
Okay, so he hypnotizes a guy and then uses the guy to kill people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that
I just know if you'd actually seen it.
That could definitely stand a good remake. Metropolis is another one. If we're going silent films, that I think with today's technology and really
really good, and
really it speaks to a lot of things that we're dealing with now.
It does.
It could have a lot of social content to it. So, weight to it, social weight to it, if it's done well. How about the Phantom of the Opera? Because that was on my list. That's on my list of remakes. Because there hasn't been a decent one, arguably, since 1945. Robert Englund's has a really his remake that he directed has a fairly strong cult following. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, so I don't remember how good it was. But I think Phantom of the Opera could stand a really strong, positive remake, and not no fucking lovey-dovey Andrew Lloyd Webber bullshit. A real fucking remake. And if we're going that far, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde as well. So.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I think we're at a time where these movies, these properties...
It's been long enough.
It's been way long enough. And we're at a time where these things can be done very well and not very expensively.
Yeah.
So, yeah. These are my choices. Mm-hmm. You have any others?
No, that's kind of all I had. I mean,
really?
I mean, there's a lot of them that I could see, but it's like, because I was kind of going through some lists earlier today, putting a list together, and
I have a couple obscure ones,
but that's what I was kind of coming across. It was either like really obscure stuff or stuff that's like, would it really work today?
Right.
You know?
Well, that's the tough thing. The obscure stuff would probably work better because no one's going to be comparing it to anything.
Yes and no. I mean, even the obscure stuff, there's been similar movies already made.
Yeah, in many cases. Like the one that's on my list is Making Contact.
Yeah.
It's about this little boy whose dad dies, and then he starts getting this phone call through his little toy phone from his dad. He's hearing his dad's voice. And there's also a possessed doll.
That's kind of creepy.
It is creepy, and there's a possessed doll in it, too. But that's a movie that no one really knows about.
Right.
But I think it could be remade really well. Another one is Night of the Comet.
I think I have seen that one.
Yeah, the original's really decent. It's solid film for an '80s film, but there's this comet that goes over, and anyone who's exposed to it either vaporizes into a pile of dust, orange dust, or they become zombies.
Yeah, I think I have seen.
Yeah,
that
it's it's a fun movie. The Monster Squad.
Okay.
I think. If not a sequel, then a remake.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a sequel because I think it could stand a sequel, and we're not going to get the Goonies sequel.
No.
And really, ultimately, the Monster Squad is the Goonies for horror fans. So, a sequel would be fine, but I'd be happy with a remake too. I think they could really do it, and they'd have to change the monsters, obviously, because in the Monster Squad it was Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the werewolf man, and all that. Now, maybe do a Monster Squad remake with our monsters growing up. You don't have to have these same names. You can obviously change them up, but you have a hockey mask killer and a white face killer and a dream demon.
Hi, my name's Frederick Cooper.
Right. Well, because
I'm gonna be in your dreams, and
it would be. You know what I'm talking about, though. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not using the same names, because then you couldn't do one movie with all those people in it. No. But you have the killer doll, and you have the hockey mask guy, because other movies have done hockey masks. You do a white face type Michael Myers mask.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all the same. but it can all stem from the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the Monster Squad. They had to make the Frankenstein monster look completely different because Universal wouldn't let them use
exactly.
any of the original Boris Karloff stuff. Even though,
speaking of Universal monsters, what I don't want to see is something like The Mummy.
yeah, no,
Because The Mummy, you watched it, didn't you, Mandy?
Mm-hmm.
Tom Cruise.
The Tom Cruise one?
Oh.
It wasn't very good.
It was terrible.
It wasn't very good. I think they're still going forward with their Invisible Man.
Are they?
Yes, I think that's actually coming out next year. So they're working on that. But I think they've dropped the whole shared universe thing
Yeah.
completely.
Which kind of sucks. Cause I
think if it had been done well, it would have been. We really could have gotten some really good movies out of that.
Their first mistake was casting Tom Cruise.
I think their first mistake was starting with the Mummy in the first place.
You think so?
They should have started with a Frankenstein or a Dracula,
Yeah,
because they're well-known names, and you're not jumping into an action film for your horror movie franchise.
Yeah. Because that's all it was.
Right.
It was an action movie.
Right.
It was
The Mummy.
It was Mission Impossible Mummy style.
Right. The Mummy from 1999 with Brendan Fraser is an action film.
That's what I was thinking of.
And that's a fantastic movie because it is exactly what it says
Supposed
it is.
to be, yeah.
The Mummy coming out was billed as a horror movie, but it was an action film.
Yeah.
You can't have both. You have to have one or the other, and they fell short. They should have done a straight gothic horror with a...
It would have worked better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
But I understand why they didn't start with Frankenstein or Dracula, because it's been done so many times.
Right, but that's what they were going for. They were going for that universal monster. They would have ended up in the series anyway.
That's true.
So why
not
go
start
with
with
your two strongest?
Yeah.
If you were going to do the same thing with our modern horror guys, you don't go with, Chucky. You go with fucking Freddy or Jason.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I understand.
Freddy is to Dracula what Jason is to the Frankenstein monster. For us, that's what it is. Those are our monsters growing up.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to do it with your powerhouses. Or do it with something completely different and incorporate the other ones into it.
No, yeah.
You could do that. Do a completely different monster, but then incorporate your other monsters into it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Anything
Those
else,
are kind of the only ones I could come up with off the top of my head because I did not come with notes. But I think I did a pretty good job.
Of course not.
No,
I said I did better than you. I had a lot more titles than you did.
Because I figured like 10 to 15 would be a good number.
Yeah. Still, I did it without the top of my head. You two had to take
Whatever.
notes.
I could probably do the exact same thing you did with sports movies.
Yes, you absolutely could.
So, I mean-
I'd have to take notes with those.
Exactly. So
Unless I could do sports movies off the top of my head if it's only baseball movies.
Yes.
But I can't do any of the others.
well, it's not probably entirely true.
Yeah, you're right. I could think of a few of the others, but not a lot. Might not be a lot, actually, now that I think about it.
There's a lot of sports movies.
Yeah.
A lot of sports movies.
But if you said, okay, name 5 football movies, I could think of Varsity Blues, Rudy. Rudy is number 1 for everybody. Any Given Sunday, Unnecessary Roughness.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
That would be
Good
about
5.
Yeah, so that's it, though. That's the best I could do off the top of my head. I'd have to look up others.
Yeah.
Have you done a sports?
No, because I
Movie?
can't talk sports with Ian.
But a sport movie.
We talk baseball movies with
That's
you.
what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, you were on that episode.
Yeah,
Mandy.
I could do baseball movies all day long because I
Yeah.
like baseball
I do
movies.
too.
I don't like the other ones. Same with basketball. What you got? Hoosiers.
There's not as many good basketball movies.
Hoosiers and is the Basketball Diaries even about basketball?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Blue Chips with Shaq. That's a
never
good movie.
thought of that one. I would never thought of that one.
Yeah, Blue Chips is a good one. That's actually
Teen
a really
Wolf,
good movie.
the first Teen Wolf.
It's not a basketball movie, but
There's a lot of basketball in it.
hey, Mandy, what was that movie we just saw? Where we were like, oh my god, that's a Christmas movie. What was that?
Oh.
It was one of the Marvel movies, wasn't it?
Yes.
Iron Man.
Yep.
Was it Iron Man 3 or 2?
It had to be 2 because 3 doesn't. take
2. Yeah, Iron Man 2. It's a Christmas movie.
Is
Yep.
it?
It takes place over Christmas.
Takes
so.
place at Christmas time. Yep.
Huh. Well, then technically Batman Returns is too.
And I say that just because Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie.
It is a fucking Christmas movie. It's just an action Christmas movie.
No, whatever.
There's a
It's
Santa
an
Claus in it.
it's
There's Christmas music in it. It takes place on Christmas Eve.
There you
It's
go.
a fucking Christmas movie.
There you go.
No.
Why?
It just happened. That happens to be the setting for the movie.
Oh,
It's not a Christmas movie.
It's a setting, and all of the things tie into it. They're there because it's a Christmas party.
Nah, it's still not a Christmas movie.
It's still.
Do you think Die Hard's a Christmas movie?
Okay,
Mandy?
what makes any other?
it's the same as Home Alone. It's the same as everything else that happens at Christmas.
What else makes Die Hard not a Christmas movie?
Because it's not about
opposed to-
Christmas.
It is. It takes place at Christmas
It just
Eve.
happens to be the setting.
It's the reason they're fucking there.
It's just the setting for the movie.
So then Christmas Vacation, the same thing. Christmas is just a setting. It's really not about Christmas. It's
It
about
is,
the family
though.
getting together.
It is, though.
Well, Die Hard is
Because
about them.
Christmas is a central theme. Christmas is an essential theme of
It
Die
is.
Hard.
It is.
It's not.
It
What,
absolutely is.
Banging my head. You're so irritating.
Why?
You are, because you know I'm right.
No,
You
you're
know
not.
yes,
I will
I'm
go
right.
to my grave thinking
And
Die
I will-
Hard is not.
and I will go to my grave saying it is the best Christmas
Well,
movie
your
ever
grave
made.
is coming a lot sooner than mine.
Yeah,
so,
you say that, but unless you're planning on murdering me, that you can't prove it.
well,
I could still outlive you, Nick.
I am thinking of murdering you right now. So, thanks, Mandy, for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook and Podbean and iTunes and Google Podcast and YouTube and Stitcher.
Yeah.
And Spotify. Anything else?
YouTube? Did you say YouTube?
I did say
The Tube
YouTube.
of the U's?
The Tube of the U's.
Yes.
That's
No.
it. Until next time.
4 more days to Halloween.
Something like that. Is it? Yeah, it is 4.
4 more days to
When this
Halloween.
comes out, yes. All right, talk to you later.
Say that over and over again, but
Talk
to the
you later.
tune of
I'm trying
London
to get
Bridge.
I'm trying to get Ian off the fucking show. Come on.
And then you'll
Talk
get
to you
the
later.
theme song from Halloween
All
3
right.
Season of the Witch, which is another movie I forgot to mention that probably could stand a remake.
Well, it shouldn't have been Halloween anyway.
No, it
but
should.
that's-
But if they redid that storyline as a remake and call it something else like Season of the Witch,
Yeah.
I think it'd be really good. So now you can hang up, Nick.
Hang up?
Well, whatever.
Are we on the fucking phone?
Hit the stop button.
My God.
Hit the stop button.
He fucking kills me every day.
See?
little bit. I
See, I
die.
told you.
I die a little bit every day.
And that is why I will outlive you.
All right, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Your old lady drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you some cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.